Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
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 What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Now we wish to invite the Gambia Police Band to, of course, lead us into the National Anthem, and in that we will invite everybody to rise up and observe the National Anthem. Thank you. Distinguished guests, members of the Consular and Diplomatic Corps, venerable religious leaders, and honorable members of the I table. It humbles me to stand before you today to serve you as your Master of Ceremony of the 4th National Tourism and Culture Conference, a forum meant to engage you all on a review exercise on successes and challenges faced by this invaluable sector that has already made its mark by becoming the 2019 Tourism Destination of the Year, among other significant developments registered by the sector at both home and abroad. At this point, I must also acknowledge the award conferred on the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Modu Tangara, for backing the UN prestigious Population Award that recognizes his contribution in the field of population and development. These are achievements, but that could not have been realized without each and every one of you directing your energy and resources in one way or the other, for the past years in particular. But more so, on today's event, of which I will be moderating sessions that will take you to more enriching periods meant to generate more treasures for our national coffers and map the unemployment gap for Destination Gambia. I must also hasten to comment efforts of the Gambia Tourism Board, the National Council for Civic Education, the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute, and all development partners for this day. However, at this very point, it will be inappropriate for me to tell you about history, but invite those leading this national engagement to lead you along the way of what is expected to be a frank, engaging, and promising deliberations set to realign our tourism and culture sector for the existing realities ahead and future generations yet unborn. I now have the pleasure to invite the Kora players and, of course, the balafon players to just give us 3 minutes of local music about our heritage and culture before I finally call on the high table to deliver their speeches. Now, I will also, at this very point, also wish to acknowledge in whose leadership for this particular sector has undergone massive reformation and transformation over the period, leading him, of course, to win the Leadership Award on Tourism, and that is no other person but, of course, Honorable Ahmad N.K. Ba, Minister for Tourism and Culture. A round of applause. Now, as we started late into the program today, I will now have the singular honor to invite the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Tourism and Culture, Kodo El Jabang, to give her welcoming remarks. Yes, you are welcome.
Honorable Cabinet Ministers, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, our development partners here present, fellow permanent secretaries, chairman and board members of the Gambia Tourism Board, National Center for Arts and Culture, and the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute, Director Generals, GT Board, NCAC, GTHI, and all other Director Generals and heads of institutions here present with us today, our valued stakeholders in the sector, Venerable Imam Ratib and Father Gidi, members of the public and private media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, good morning. It gives me profound joy to welcome you this morning on the occasion of the National Tourism and Culture Conference opening ceremony. On behalf of the Honorable Minister of Tourism and Culture, Honorable Ahmad Nkeba, and the entities under the purview of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, let me thank you very much for joining us this morning. But permit me, of course, at the outset to thank our indefatigable organizing committee who have worked tirelessly to provide this conducive environment that we are going to enjoy now, as well as the facilities and logistics that will facilitate our deliberations during the conference. As you all know, with the advent of the new dispensation, the government of His Excellency President Adama Barrow acknowledged the significant role of tourism and culture as one of the fundamental pillars of the National Development Plan, thereby signifying its substantial contribution to the socio-economic development of our country's economic progress. Tourism and culture now will constitute a vital instrument to wealth creation, while at the same time providing jobs in support of women, youth, and other marginalized groups of our society. A cursory look at tourism and travel statistics worldwide indicate that in 2018, tourism generated $8.8 trillion and supported 319 million jobs across the world. It is deemed to be one of the fastest growing sectors in the world. Looking at the home front, I am excited to state that this government is committed to developing and expanding our tourism industry. We're looking to tourism to stimulate a greater level of inward investment, foreign exchange earnings, and greater linkages with productive sectors of the economy. The tourism and conference we are hosting here today has been designed to be fully participatory and aimed at gathering the inputs of all participants and stakeholders. We value the inputs of all, as this is critical to the success of this initiative. We will therefore be hearing from ministers who will, from a policy perspective, indicate the forward and backward linkages already established and those to be established with the tourism sector in the near future. This will be followed by technical presentations from our sector's leading experts, namely Mr. Abdoulaye Haidara, the Director General, Gambia Tourism Board, Mr. Hassan Sesay, Acting Director General, National Center for Arts and Culture, and Mr. Dauda Nyang, Director General, Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute, on the three themes to be covered in the conference. Building upon the preceding policy statements and technical presentations, participants will meet in working group sessions, which will allow for more in-depth discussions of the themes of the conference. Finally, the plenary section discussions, together with the outcomes from the working group deliberations, will not only enable us to develop conclusions and recommendations, but will also identify the linkages and synergies between the three themes of the conference. It is our expectation that at the end of it all, We are clear about what the next steps will be and thus lay the basis for a fully implementable follow-up action. On this note, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for responding to our invitation and invite you to make available your most valued perspectives on this vital sector of our economy. I pray for Allah's guidance and a successful conference. Thank you all for your kind attention.
P.S. Kodu L. Jabang Senghor. On that welcoming remark and of course a brief rundown of the program ahead of the day. Now I have the honor to welcome Honorable Ibrahim Asila, Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, to give his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Cabinet Ministers, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, venerable religious leaders, senior government officials present here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Tourism and Culture, Honorable Ahmad Ba, for inviting me and my ministry to this very important meeting today to say a few words on the role of information, media, and ICTs in enhancing the development of tourism in the Gambia. Honorable Minister of Tourism, I want to inform you that by their nature, information, media, and ICTs in general are important value services that enhance the overall development of tourism and tourism-related products. All throughout the world, countries are embracing digital tourism to break barriers, boost arrivals, especially among young first-time visitors and high-end spenders, and maintain dominance in the market. In a sector where more and more travelers now prefer to do a one-stop shop on their travel choice on the internet, it is important that Gambia gets it right and accelerate its presence on the net big time. This is where the high-spending tourists are, and it is in the internet that is the first point of visit for many travel enthusiasts about a destination. Holiday makers are now too busy to visit travel agencies to make direct face-to-face arrangements for their holiday and business trips. Rather, people want to transact their travel arrangements from the comfort of their homes and their offices. There is need, therefore, for the Gambia Tourism Board to maintain a highly interactive web portal that captures the generic beauty and issue specificities of the country. The strategic objective here should be to capture a traveler's attention of the wow attractions of the Gambia. Equally, as we roll out the National Broadband Network, the MBN, transporters in the hospitality industry should become more and more innovative to have Wi-Fi connectivity in their coaches and minivans to get their customers connected all throughout the journey and other places that they want to visit. Tourist taxi drivers should also think about similar innovations. Perhaps one important thing to consider is to have all tourist taxi drivers connected to a tracking portal that monitors and documents the details of places visited and their exact times. Rwanda has just introduced this kind of technology in its transport industry, and believe me, it can be a big game changer in terms of security concerns and also even income for the drivers. The Tourism Ministry should also consider connecting all the important tourism sites like Jufre, Albreda, the National Museum, and other places alike, whose staff should provide regular updates of activities on these sites. Information is key, and countries that are good at selling their destination and products are the natural winners in today's competitive travel industry. In an era where safety and security are a prime concern for governments and tour operators, the Ministry of Tourism should consider working with all hotels and resorts, as well as other facilities that provide bedding for tourists, to have closed-circuit television CCTV cameras in their premises and other critical locations. Let me also add that the Ministry of Tourism may want to start thinking about the need to install new cutting-edge body scanning equipment at all strategic entrances of hotels and other important places of special interest to the tourist. Data generated from both the body scanning equipment and that of the CCTV should be digitally stored and, where necessary, readily accessible to designated personnel and critical stakeholders. This is one important way to assure security and to deal with other related concerns. The Gambia does not have a data center at the moment to centrally store and manage high quality and heavy data. I guess this is the right moment for the private sector, especially those connected to the industry, to consider investing in this very critical ICT infrastructure, which can be run at commercial value. The Ministry of Tourism may also want to strengthen its collaboration and partnership with the media to ensure that reporting on and about the industry are accurate to avoid unnecessary alarms and chaos in the industry. It is in the interest of the industry players and the ministry to collaborate with the Gambia Press Union for capacity building opportunities for the media, and where possible, negotiate with the media owners about the need to have desk officers on tourism and related matters in their newsrooms. This is necessary to ensure that stories on and about the sector go through the hands of highly trained reporters who understand the issues and who understand the risk associated with misreporting and misrepresentation of facts about tourism. After all, it is documented that up to 20,000 Gambians directly or indirectly depend on tourism for their livelihoods. Protecting this industry, therefore, should be our prime collective responsibility. Honorable Minister, I remember when you told me about this event on Saturday night and the pressure you put on me to be here this morning to forgo my trek that is already arranged for today. I have to tell you that I spent the whole of Sunday afternoon putting together this document. It is a 10-page condensed document which will be submitted to your technical staff as part of my ministry's contribution. And in this document, it details how we can leverage the tourism dividend through ICT, the need for the shift in better marketing our destination, in mobilizing the media to effectively enhance greater local content in the industry, strategic sensitization to deal with the issues of bumpsters, I guess, if there is another or better name for them. No, I didn't mean to ostracize them. And also in the document, it is also documented where we have scalability of the actions related to the media and ICTs to engender sustained growth in numbers, but also quality visitors. We also, in the document, the strategy is premised on ensuring that we do away with mass tourism and encourage quality tourism where necessary and quality information is available to people who want to come to this country. I have to say that the media and ICTs are your very important tools to help against this grand strategy, and we are at your disposal to work with you to ensure that you achieve your prime target. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ibrahim Silla, Minister for Communication and Communication Infrastructure, on the role of information and ICT in boosting the tourism sector, as well as the National Broadband Network envisaged to bring new innovation into the sector. Now, I have the honor to welcome Honorable Lamin Diop, Minister of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration, and Employment, to give his remarks.
Good morning to you all. Good morning, Honorable Minister of Tourism and Culture, Honorable Ahmad Ba. Good morning, my fellow ministers here present. Good morning, Directors Generals of different institutions under the Ministry of Tourism and Culture here present. Senior government officials, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps. It gives me great honor to be present here to deliver a short statement on tourism as relates to my ministry, which is Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration, and Employment. I felt honored and delighted to be invited to speak on this occasion as a key stakeholder in the tourism industry. Tourism continues to play a significant role in the service sectors and remaining leading foreign exchange earner in the economy. The strategic importance of tourism cannot be overemphasized, and government is giving it special attention to boost foreign exchange earning and also boost employment. The growth of the sector would require continuous innovation, such as the increase of e-marketing, strong promotional campaigns, and diversification of the tourism product in the medium and long term. It would also require constant dialogue with stakeholders in the industry, as well as frequent assessment of sector performances, especially in the area of services in different ways. Therefore, it is very important as we speak that the performance of tourism is progressing season by season. Tourism as relates to my ministry, as I said, trade. When it comes to trade, tourism is a major contributor or a major provider of employment. Apart from agriculture, I think tourism is the biggest employer. Tourism offers a lot of opportunity for the businessmen and women who deal in basic essential commodities. When you come to the horticulture sector, for example, you find our women in the gardens, most of their produce is bought by the tourism industry, hotels, restaurants, and other, key stakeholders in the tourism industry. That is quite applauded. When you talk of, industries are coming up. But again, tourism plays, very, very important role in patronizing the small industries that are coming up in the Gambia. For example, we have fruit processing industries coming up, like the GHE, that is Gambia Horticultural Enterprise Mr. Mohamed Sesay being the proprietor. We have visited his facilities around Kembuje. They are doing well, processing, fruit juices, cashew nuts, and other products locally made here. So tourism is a very good outlet for our small industries coming up. So, we are definitely very much happy to partner with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture to make our industries grow. Yes, because if we don't help our local industries, our country becomes a dumping ground. Dumping ground means everything will come from outside and be dumped here, which we don't need. We need fresh products into our hotels, to give the best quality of food. Now, when it comes to regional integration also, which is under my portfolio, we have seen what tourism, provides in that direction. For example, I've been in Guinea-Bissau for some time, but I see that most of the stakeholders in the tourism industry do have links with different countries in the sub-region. I find these mini buses and buses coming to Guinea-Bissau, bringing tourists from the Gambia to Guinea-Bissau to come and explore the, tourism potential there also, to come and see the Bijogus, the big islands and whatever. So you can see tourism is providing a very important outlet for the regional integration aspect of tourism. That's quite applauded also. Employment, I've already mentioned that. Tourism is providing big employment, not only for the Gambia, but even for the sub-region. Because the spillovers that go into the sub-region create employment for them also. They also, earn something and keep up with that. So tourism is a very, very important, industry, which helps not only the Gambia, but the sub-region as a whole. Mr. Chairman, in recognition of the strategic role and potential of the tourism industry in this country, like many developing countries, my ministry established a strong relationship with the Ministry of Tourism and her institutions in the promotion and development of tourism over the years. My ministry, through the Gambia Growth and Competitive Project, which ended, had provided support to the marketing committee for her promotion campaign to diversify tourism markets and non-traditional markets, and also support revamping of what used to be called the Tourism in School, which is currently the Hospitality Institute. The Youth Empowerment Project under my ministry has been working with the Ministry of Tourism in areas of institutional development of Tourism and Hospitality Institute to bring it to international standards, as well as develop new tourism products. GIPA, Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, is also under my ministry. They have signed an MOU with the GT board to have joint investment promotion, moves. All these supports to ensure continued development of the sector to propel economic growth, employment generation, and alleviation of poverty in the economy. Mr. Chairman, in conclusion, I want to thank the Ministry of Tourism and Culture for the invitation to grace this important occasion. They indeed are a great partner to my ministry in relation to cherish such, laudable moves. As alluded above, tourism remains an important service sector of the economy, as it constitutes important, export promotion, in this country. My ministry will continue to work closely with the Ministry of Tourism to unlock the potential of the sector as we begin the journey of implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which has the potential to boost tourism due to the free movement of people and goods, people and services throughout the continent. I thank you very much for your kind attention. May God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Instead of the Foreign Affairs Minister, we now call on the Special Advisor to come on and give his remarks.
The Honorable Minister for Tourism and Culture, Honorable Ahmed Ba, all cabinet ministers present, venerable religious leaders, excellencies, ambassadors and members of the consular corps, senior government functionaries present, members of the senior management of the tourism industry, local government administrators present, hoteliers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I stand on previous protocols. From the onset, I'd like to express profound appreciation to the Honorable Minister for Tourism and Culture, Honorable Ahmed Ba, for graciously extending invitation to the Office of the President and, in particular, the Department of Strategic Policy and Delivery to be here today and make a brief statement. Honorable Minister, I'd like to congratulate you for this landmark event. It is historic because this is the first time in half a century of our history that we have a tourism conference of this nature. It is a history because it has brought together the key stakeholders to come and dialogue on the way forward, to make a critical, analytical assessment of our tourism industry and the way forward. It is also significant because the policy will come under review, and this will afford us a unique opportunity to sharpen all of our instruments to render the Gambia a major destination, not only in Africa, but in the world. This is of special interest to the Department of Strategic Policy and Delivery, because our role, among others, is not only to facilitate, but to make it practical for all sectors within government to speak to each other, be on the same page, and in the process advance government's major priority goals. Tourism is a key sector in our economy. It is not only supporting our balance of payment challenges, it is also providing a social order. And what is this social order? It is providing employment. We know some of the challenges we have in the demographic element. We know the insecurities that our society experiences, and as such, the growth of tourism and its cascading effect on other sectors, particularly the informal sector, will provide the kind of fodder that we need for stability and additional economic opportunities. Honorable Minister, I want to assure you that we will partner with the Minister of Tourism and Culture. Our department will support you in 7 different ways. The first, working with you, we will develop and review national tourism priorities, policies, and programs. And second, we will develop and review the national tourism blueprint in order to make it more current and more relevant. And third, we will support you to coordinate the development and set national goals, targets, and indicators for sustainable tourism development. And fourth, we will facilitate the coordination of the mainstreaming of tourism issues in sectoral policies and strategies. And fifth, we will support you in monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of the implementation of national tourism policies and strategies and programs. And sixth, the department will find a synergy, working with your sector to monitor and evaluate the implementation of tourism legislation, notably the Duty Board Act and Gambia Tourism Regulations. And seventh, we will support you in setting up benchmarks for quality performance and delivery in all aspects of the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gambia deserves nothing but the best. It is only the best that is good for this country. As we move forward in all activities today and tomorrow, it would be important to look at the best practice in other countries. It will interest you to know that the Gambia is among the first countries, particularly in the region, to have a tourism industry. Barely 3 years after independence, 1968. Then Kerr and some of the tropical names were nothing. So the vision has always been there. But then there's a question, why is Kerr today more attractive than the Gambia? And Senegal and the others. These were countries that were studying our experience. But today we are lagging behind a little bit. And that is why we think it is fundamental that the ministry be supported. And its main arm, the Gambia Tourism Board. We need to look at that. And I'm sure the minister has this because he is always beaming with ideas. What it requires is effective sectoral coordination. And all policies and all ministries mainstreaming tourism as essential element. But when I say the Gambia deserves only the best, Honorable Minister, I mean, we must transition. And I'm not demeaning or devaluing the importance. Backpack tourism. Because really what we need, the Gambia must attract quality tourists that also spend. And I read a recent survey that indicated that only tourists from Britain and Holland spend more money, about $1,000 or so. And this all-inclusive tourism need to be looked at, because the bulk of the money stays outside. And we get a little part of it. But I have no doubt under the effective leadership of Honorable Hamad Ba, the Permanent Secretary and DG Hydra, who I have known from school days, we will see a transformation in the industry. Security is also vital. We must continue to protect tourism sites, security of life and of property. And cultural training to our people, but also to tourists themselves. Honorable Minister, tourism is not a little popular in some communities, because, particularly conservative communities, because the belief is tourism is diluting our culture. It has its negativities it is negative influence on our society, on our people. The dress code, the way that they appear, some of the attitude. It is also believed that tourism promotes, or tourism helps in the area of contraband, such as drugs and so forth. All these are areas we need to look at. Rightly or wrongly, we must continue to sensitize and educate our population about the importance of the tourism industry. I think we need to look at downstream tourism as well. What I mean to say, up-country tourism. This is also key. Even for us, when you have an event in the provinces, you have a difficulty staying in a decent area. And I'm sure with the new ecotourism policy that is coming on, we will be able to see an amelioration in that. Honorable Minister, we will not pretend to be experts in this sector, but the department will continue to team up with you, to partner with you, and to support you in all ways for you to achieve your targets. We know what obtains in other countries. If only the best is good for the Gambia matters, then we must develop deliberate policies that will take this country from one point to the next, not only in tourism, but in all sectors, because all sectors are interdependent and interconnected. On that note, Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank all of you, and we wish you a very productive
special advisor to President Barrow, who just gave his remarks on the need to support policy and priority areas for sustainable tourism development in the Gambia. A singular honor to invite the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, Honorable Mamadou Dr. Tangara.
Honorable Ahmad Nkeba, Minister of Tourism and Culture, my dear cabinet colleagues, Special Advisor to the President of the Republic of the Gambia, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, Permanent Secretaries, Director General, Gambia Tourism Board, Acting Director General, National Center for Arts and Culture, my good friend Hassan Sesay, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols duly and respectfully observed. I'm deeply honored to be invited to this National Tourism and Culture Conference. This meeting is taking place in one of the Gambia's iconic locations, the Kairaba Beach Hotel. This beautiful edifice is a symbol of the Gambia's tourism and cultural diplomacy that was spearheaded by the first President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. As early as the 1960s, former President Jawara understood the role and power of culture and tourism in diplomacy, in crafting the foreign policy of the Gambia. Based on the same principles, our foreign policy of today is crafted to entrench a culture of proactive diplomacy that protects the national interests of the Gambia and her citizens. It promotes sustainable peace and security at national, regional, and international level, and mobilizes resources for the economic development of the country. Additionally, it seeks to secure the welfare of all Gambians. This national conference is important for various reasons. First, it comes at an opportune time when the Gambia is gradually regaining her rightful position in the Committee of Nations. Since coming to power, His Excellency President Adama Barrow has pursued a policy of friendship and peaceful cooperation with other nations and upholds strong partnership with regional and international bodies. And we can say that the cornerstone of this diplomacy, and we can use the slogan of Bangladesh, friendship with all and malice to none. Secondly, the conference underscores the importance that tourism and culture plays in our economy. As you all know, the Gambia relies primarily on tourism, agriculture, and remittances. According to World Bank figures, real gross domestic product growth was estimated at 6.6% in 2018, from 4.6% in 2017. This growth is driven in no small measure by a strong recovery in the tourism sector. There was a record increase of tourist arrival by 26% in 2018 compared to 2017. And I would like to seize this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Ahmad Nkeba and his able team for the award given to them in Germany, and the Gambia was cited as the best travel destination. And it was transmitted over 17 TV channels with more than 2.5 million viewers. I think this is far from the days when I remember I have some friends who were coming here to the Gambia for the first time, and they spent 3 days in Senegal, and on our way to Banjul, they showed me a book. These are our friends from Berak. They are our friends with Madam Juka Jabang, who is here present. And in that book, the Guide Hachette, which is a reference in terms of travel advice, Joël is here to correct me. It was written that la Gambie est un pays de non-droit, miné par la violence et la corruption. On vous déconseille fortement de vous y rendre. Et si d'aventure vous allez en Gambie, ne manquez pas de visiter le Albert Market, qui est un marché formidable. Which means that the Gambia is a lawless country, undermined by violence and corruption. And you are strongly advised not to go there. But if you happen to visit the Gambia, go and visit the Albert Market, which is a nice, beautiful market. So I told them, let's go and you will see for yourself. They came, but fascinated by the hospitality of the Gambians and the nice and peaceful nature of Gambians. Now I think we are going to 17 years they've been coming, paying their own money, not asking a single penny from government, and with the help of friends like Madam Juka Jabang and others who are not here present, we were able to bring like 3 ambulances in the Gambia. The red ambulance that you are seeing being used by the Gambia Fire Service is from our efforts, and they've been bringing containers. And I just yesterday received a note that they are bringing 2 new containers with hospital beds and others. You go to places like that. And we've been doing that quietly. But that was due to the fact that they came and they saw for themselves. And I think during the impasse, the Gambian people demonstrated also their peaceful nature. And that's why today, in terms of preventive diplomacy, Gambia is a force to be reckoned with. And the UN Secretary General himself said that he wants to make the Gambia, a case of success story in preventive diplomacy and sustaining peace. As the Gambia extricates herself from the economic doldrums and from self-imposed isolation of the past, we as a government realize that culture and tourism must be given the priority they deserve. We must therefore explore various cultural products that we can offer to visitors, and the potential vehicle of cultural exchanges between Gambians and visitors to the country are many and varied. These include language, cuisine, education, the internet, and the media. The economic dividends to be realized will help in bridging the gaps and resolving the failures registered in the last 2 decades, a daunting but doable enterprise. Culture serves as a magnet for tourism, while tourism enriches cultures by bringing cultures and peoples together. The learning of foreign language from Europe, Latin America, to the Middle East, Asia, and other parts of Africa facilitate communication. The twinning of villages and municipalities with some villages and municipalities in Europe facilitate transfer of idea and technical cooperation between governments and local government authorities. And our music and dances have become a window to our society, just as this artistic expression have given us a glimpse of other culture. And one thing that many Gambians fail to realize is that Gambia is a powerhouse in terms of culture. You know, during my previous life as a researcher, I had the opportunity to travel around several countries. And we have a gold mine that we do not even realize that it's a gold mine. That's the Research and Documentation Department of the National Center for Arts and Culture. You have Celto in Niger. The amount of documents we have here, you don't have it anywhere in the world. On Kabu alone, you have more than 3,000 tapes collected by Bakary Sidibe. But Gambians, we are not good at telling our own stories, and we have people with a lot of knowledge. In fact, when I started the research, I went to IFAM, Institut Fondamental d'Afrique Noire, And they told me, what are you doing here? The best expert on cargo, you have it he's in the Gambia. So sometimes we tend to go and look far away, what we have just next to our doors. And the Manding conference that was held at the London School of Oriental and African Studies, you go there today during the time of my research, and I think we'll closely work with Hassan to see how best we can get back some of the documents, because they are kept in a room where it is written, do not even remove from this room. And you have all the deliberation of that Manding conference there. And Senghor organized also a very successful conference on Kabu, and Bakari Sidibe, Dr. Almeida, late Dr. Almeida, they all played a key role, and not many Gambians know about that. So it's important that we know the importance of culture and give it the pride of place that it deserves to occupy in our development process. Because as long as we continue to see ourselves through the eyes of others, we'll just be following. And Senghor used to say that nous avons de hauts monuments parlés entourés par un mur de silence. We have high-spoken monuments surrounded by a wall of silence. If you take, for example, the song Kedo Kana Majoban, Kedo Jankel Kana Majoban, I'm going to sound as a griot. Wale mama wata balbatin kidanin balbatan suma kajori, malam bula fe ma akilo suma bonje suma jimara suma tamban. You go along. You see, only with every sentence in that song is full of and loaded with meaning. But how many of us know it? Even some griots, you hear them say, Kejo kana majoban, Kedo jonkewon. You don't say jonkewon. You cannot praise someone and call him jonkewon, jankewon. So it's important for us to do research and to know ourselves. Because as long as I said, we see ourselves through the distorted prism of others, we'll just be lagging behind. And that's why your ministry is of great importance. With much support and mentorship to our creative industries and the performing arts, it is hoped that the industry will regain its lost glory of the 60s and the 70s. The impact of such a rebirth on the Gambian economy will be deeper. It will prepare the Gambia to export made in Gambia products and strengthen the tourism value chain to create more jobs, particularly for women and youth. To conclude, we sincerely hope that this conference will facilitate discussion on very dynamic cultural network. We as a country need to reassess our cultural and tourism diplomacy, priorities to maximize investment on people and infrastructure. This, if achieved, will support cultural and creative industries to attract high-end tourists to a quality destination, Gambia, in the near future. As you move into your breakout session, I encourage participants to bear in mind the crucial role played by social and cultural diplomacy in our efforts to promote a world order based on inclusiveness, rule of law, multilateralism, and respect for cultural diversity. And for the award, Honorable, thank you very much. But I always say that we all share the glory, but the merit of this award goes to all those who supported us and continue to support us in our fight for a peaceful and harmonious society. I wish you fruitful deliberation, and I thank you for your kind attention.
Honorable Dr. Mamadou Tangara, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Gambians abroad, on tourism and cultural diplomacy, which is anchored on the new democratic dispensation of the Barrow-led government that have relinquished our status as before a prior state. Now, to the climax of the opening ceremony, I have the singular honor to welcome Honorable Ahmad N.K. Ba, Minister for Tourism and Culture. A round of applause.
Good morning, honorable colleagues. Let me say I am very pleased with the level of turnout of my colleague ministers, who some of them could not attend Parliament because of this program. And some of them got notified even this morning, and they were able to make it. Colleagues, I personally appreciate your coming, and I thank you so much for it. Your Excellencies, ambassadors, representatives of foreign missions, members of the diplomatic corps, our great leader, the Imam of Banjul, who also made it this morning with all the challenges. He was able, when it was tourism and culture, he said, I must come and grace the occasion and pray for the gathering. Imam, we thank you so much. Mr. Bishop, representative of the Bishop, we thank you also. This country needs all of us together. As others have been divided based on religious values, we should be united based on our differences. Our differences should be our strength and not our weaknesses. The fact that Gambians embrace Christianity and Muslims, it shows we are a country that the foreign minister was just describing, a unique nation in a difficult situation in a region which is polluted, destroyed by fundamentalism. We pray to Allah that let this country be safe from that. We thank our leaders who are praying every day, every evening, every night for this country. We're grateful to you, the religious leaders, for preaching the message of peace across, and we hope that peace will continue in our country. Director Generals who have made it up here, very busy stakeholders. We know very well how hoteliers are, how busy they are, particularly some of them now who are engaged in refurbishment, construction, doing a lot of work. Members of the security, who are our best partners. I've seen the commander of ECOMIC, representative from the Gambian Army, immigration, and the police. That shows they also have an interest in their country. The governor of West Coast and other governors represented here. Tourism is everybody's business. But I think KMC and the West Coast and their alcalos for being here, it is important that we hear their views because of the problems we are encountering now. We want to hear everybody's view so that when we leave this hall, we should be able to come out with something that will make a difference, and that's why we felt all the alcalos, the governors, the chiefs, all of them be invited so that they can come and be part of this conference. And of course, all the distinguished personalities. I have requested the invitation of the former wife of the former director of, the wife of the former director of tourism, Mr. Junaidu Jallo, who I don't know whether Mrs. Jallo is in the hall here, but I've insisted that an invitation be extended to her for the great role her husband played in promoting tourism in this country. One thing I want to appeal, Gambians, we must start to recognize achievement. We must accept people when they achieve something and appreciate it. Unless we begin to appreciate ourselves and our achievement, and those with knowledge value their knowledge and experience, we'll be leaving a lot behind us. And I think one of the reasons why we felt that we should also organize in next year's conference an award ceremony that would show us who have done what, even though some of them have passed away. The contribution they have made to this sector, the culture sector, the tourism sector, the art sector, they need to be recognized. And we must make sure that when you go to the archives, when you go to the museum, you can find what they have contributed. We cannot forget them for all what they have done. Ladies and gentlemen, it is difficult when I am told to read from a prepared speech, but I will manage my very best. I have the singular honor and pleasure to address this distinguished gathering of eminent and notable personalities on this historic occasion of the National Tourism Conference, convened to discuss significant, wide-ranging issues geared towards the advancement of tourism in the Gambia. As you all know, the promotion of a culture-centered tourism is one of the 8 strategic priorities of the National Development Plan. That's the NDP 2018-2021. I am pleased to state that since the historic change of government, the tourism and culture sector has registered remarkable progress in the quest to enhance sector contribution towards Gambia's economic growth and the creation of employment opportunities. When we took over this government, the first thing we did was to have a national consultative forum. We brought everybody under one umbrella, listened to everybody's view. Those views were transformed into the National Development Plan. Because it's a sector where everybody's views matter. There is no master who can master it all. You can only know something, somebody knows another thing, and then we say it together. And that, your views that were collated, was what was transformed into the National Development Plan. And we're happy that this government of Adama Barrow felt at the time, upon reading that document, that tourism and culture should be a priority development sector of his government for the first time in the history of this country. We were able to achieve that because of your immense and valuable contribution in that document. Ladies and gentlemen, globally, the United Nations World Tourism Organization estimates that international tourist arrivals, that is overnight visitors, increased by 6% to 1.4 billion in 2018, clearly above the 3.7 growth registered in global economy. In relative terms, the Middle East had a 10% increase, and Africa 7%, and Europe and the Pacific got 6% increase in 2018. Specifically for the Gambia, many notable achievements can be highlighted. Arrival statistics show that from 2017-2018 season, there was a record-breaking increase of 28% of visitors, from the highest ever in the history of this country, which was around 2012, 162,075 tourists. That was the highest ever in the history. That was about 2012. The Gambia recorded, at the end of 2018, 209,000 visitors. The first quarter of 2019 consolidated this positive trend, with arrivals registering a remarkable increase of 97%. That's the first quarter. We hope that by the end of the year, we would again break the records. The increase in arrival is due to a combination of factors, including increased number of flights, and new marketing strategy, and other measures. For example, we have now Gambians as destination managers in crucial market segment, a shift away from the costly and ineffective practice of hiring foreign marketing agents. Let me just expound on this point. When we took over, we realized as a government we were paying almost 20-something thousand pounds a month to foreign agents who will just sit in their office and make one statement on our behalf, and we are paying them that taxpayers' money a month. The question was, why are you paying this money? Said, it's a policy, we want to promote the Gambia. As a government, we felt at the level of cabinet, who can promote the Gambia better than Gambians? We immediately went into action. We scrapped all these contracts. We recruited Gambians to take over these responsibilities. You cannot tell me about Janjambure, Birkama, you somebody sitting in London more than I do. And we believe that our own citizens can tell their own story and represent their own national interest. National pride is important in a country. You cannot give away national pride. These are positions that we felt our own citizens have to do. And that we did. Today, Gambians are manning those positions. They are on contract, and we're about to recruit more to make sure in various parts of the world we are represented. And now, luckily, let me also tell you, we have a dynamic foreign minister. I'll give you a story, I must be honest. When the decision to appoint him a minister was on, I want to be honest to you, Mr. Minister. Yeah. I sat with my principal, the issue was raised with me. I raised a question. I said, this wasn't the Jambi people you want to bring back, Mr. President. We had an argument. He said, wait a minute. Let me recount you stories what this gentleman have done for us that make it possible for us to be here. The day this impasse happened, he was the first Gambian at the UN to stand up firm to say that they must support the elected government. He stood firm. He did everything possible to make sure that Jammeh was not going to stay. With all the promises Jammeh made to him, he defied and said, Jammeh must go. And he gave me positive stories about this gentleman. And today, UN have recognized him positively for that peaceful diplomatic achievement he made, having one of the most outstanding awards in the UN system. Mr. Minister, I must confess, after 2 months of interaction, I went back to my principal. I said, I think we made the right decision. The man can do the job. Because I see in the man, he likes what he's doing. He loves his job. You know, when somebody loves what he's doing and is able to do it, you must praise him. He will succeed. And Mr. Minister, we are proud of you as our chief diplomat. What we want, to be honest, is to make sure your diplomats do what other diplomats are doing. It is not any more political diplomacy in this world. We are in a world of economic diplomacy. And that's the trend. That's the trend they need. It's not a question of putting up a suit, moving up. No, it's a question of getting to where you can get the investors, where you can get the investment for your country. And I think it's important that message also goes through your staff throughout the country. And we must appreciate also that the embassies, for taking on board all our destination managers at no cost to the Gambia Tourism Board. And that we appreciate. And I think that's the trend that this country, every diplomat wherever you are, your job should not be to please anybody, but to bring investment to your country. And let me tell you, in some other countries, you know about that, you are evaluated based on what type of investment and achievement you brought for your country before you have your contract renewed. It is now a trend all over the world. Why should we not use that as a trend with our diplomats? That you can only get your contract renewed because you've brought this and that achievement. So that when they go there, they will now concentrate working hard for their countries, bringing their investment. Because the type of money we are paying them, the multiplier effect, you know, the driver there can pay you and pay me. One salary of a driver of an embassy can pay you and pay me. Not talking about the ambassador. So if they are getting all that money on taxpayers' money, they should be able to give back dividends to the people, to the Gambian people. And I think this should be a clear message across the board. So we thank you so much, Mr. Minister, and we hope that the message, economic diplomacy, become the order of the day. Government has taken measures to ensure that land allocated to credible investors, that infrastructure in the TDA is enhanced through the development of feeder roads and improved street lighting. We continue to attract investments into the sector. So far, with over 35 both solicited and unsolicited applications for the construction of 4 or 5-star hotels have been received. We are witnessing a significant increase in the construction of new refurbished high-class hotels, and this undoubtedly will assist us to accommodate the increased number of tourists. Let me say something very clear. We must express very sincere thanks to the Minister of Local Government. Since he took over, there has been remarkable cooperation between his ministry and the Tourism Board and the Ministry of Tourism, particularly when it comes to land matters. There has not been any dispute as far as we are concerned. He's always availed himself, used the law, used his experience to make sure that we succeed in this endeavor. We are not rivals or competitors, we are collaborators in the interests of our nation. Mr. Minister, we thank you for your foresightness. And I think, let me send a message here. this country, our land size will never increase. We have children that are not born yet. We must manage this land properly for the children that are yet unborn next 50, 100 years to come. The way people want to grab land, it cannot continue. The TDA is there to be preserved, to be kept, to be managed for the next 50 years. I want you to go and visit Canary Island, how they are managing their land. They receive 16 million tourists today, as I speak. Yet still there are lands that are banked, kept for the next 50 years to come. Nobody touch them. You go to Sam al-Sheikh, you see how they manage their land, how they preserve it. You go to Cape Verde next door, that was nothing about 15, 20 years ago. Today they are receiving 800,000 tourists when we are staggering with 200,000 tourists. You see how they manage their desert land, We have such a beautiful land given to us by nature, by God. State agencies are everywhere encouraging, moving as if there is no governance, there is no system in this country. We must preserve this land and reserve it for our children. When they come, they should be able to know how they use it. But genuine investors who know that they are genuine and want to invest should have no problem getting land to invest. There should be no obstacle for them to invest, to make sure we increase our capacity, make sure we create more jobs. Mr. Minister, our job capacity is over 150,000 Gambians employed, directly and indirectly in the economy. So we believe that every Gambian should participate in this and cooperate in this. If you have money, genuinely you want to invest, you shouldn't have any problem. But the issue of grabbing land for the name of seeking land, sake of having land, speculating on it, should be a thing of the past in this country. This land will never increase. And I foresee the problem of this country, when some of us are gone, would be the issue of land. We are the fourth most densely populated country in Africa. And we've seen what happened to countries where they are highly densely populated. The crisis, Rwanda, what happened there, Burundi, and you see in Kenya, all this about land issue. And we need to manage, Mr. Minister of Lands. Our land policy, our land program, our Lands Act need to be revisited. We have to preserve this land and protect it. The entire combos are being wrecked. And we cannot afford to continue that way. We need to really do something about it, Mr. Minister. But we thank you for your cooperation and the effort we are investing in this. And let me also take the Minister of Trade. Minister of Trade, a remarkable increase of Gambian participation in the industry is being witnessed today. Gambians with money investing in the tourism sector, not leaving it in the hands of foreigners. We congratulate those Gambians and we commend them for their citizenship, for their patriotism, for their love of their country. You will get the support of this government to make sure you succeed in your investment. And I think, Mr. Minister, this brings me down to the point that I engaged you yesterday. We cannot afford to have people selling at random as they want. I visited one of the site construction yesterday. The price of cement was $240. Today, they are buying at $300 at the mercy of businessmen. This is not sustainable, Mr. Minister. And as a government, we must act to make sure we protect and preserve the interests of our investors. They deserve that. And your ministry should take that lead to help these investors. We cannot be at the mercy of, greedy businessmen who want to exploit our investors, who are investing for the good of our country. You cannot budget a bag of cement at $240 only to find the price to be $300. The Ministry of Trade need to really take up the responsibility. I know the effort you made the last 2 months. I was right there when you advocated for the lifting of ban of importation of cement. Let everybody be allowed to bring cement in the country in order to control the price. But what has gone wrong for the price to be $300 now? Some people are even talking about $325 when these people who are building these hotels are employing. And you know what amazing thing I found yesterday? I found Gambian youths themselves, because we criticized them the last time. This time we found them right there working, doing the construction themselves, and not foreigners. That means this government has succeeded in convincing our youths to be part of the process. We therefore must also, as a government, be responsible and act responsibly to make sure our investors' interest is taken on board. We cannot afford to continue to buy a bag of cement for $300 when they want to build their hotels and refurbish their hotels. What we are going to do about that, Mr. Minister, I think this is something that we need to discuss, because they are massive investment, and these are all Gambians who are putting their money, their savings, in investing in the industry. To spread the benefit of tourism to all parts of the country, determined efforts are being made to roll out community projects in all the 5 regions of the country through building ecologies. This is contributing to diversifying tourism product and addressing the needs of a more demanding visitor, as well as boosting youth employment. This is part of a larger effort to develop new tourism product, which will include culture and heritage tourism, wellness tourism, and sports tourism, as well as exploiting the huge potential of the Great Gambia River. Finally, we have taken steps to enhance our quality assurance through a new hotel classification and standard document. Up-country tourism facilities have been assessed, and some renovation works are being carried out in most parts of the country. The special advisor to the president, who is also dealing with the strategic policy analysis unit, Minister Fatou, talks about the issue of accommodation up-country. I met a couple of ambassadors who said to me, when we travel to your up-country, we have nowhere to stay, a decent place to stay. And we witness it ourselves. When we travel, we find it difficult to have hotels to stay. And that's why we are now encouraging Gambians to build 3 2-star hotels up-country. It's rather unfortunate. Gambians are never tourists in their own country. They don't go with their children and family to be a tourist for a weekend because the facilities are not there. The ones that are there are overpriced with very little facility. They cannot. And it is sad that you are a Gambian. You cannot take your kids on a weekend to go and have a retreat with your family. We have looked at this. And that's why the GTB are working to partner with other private sector players to build 5 ecologies. But we want to encourage Gambians to build this type of hotels up country so that in our own country, we can rediscover our Gambia. We can go and visit our country. And you talked about the issue of culture. Culture-centered tourism is the way forward. I believe that the strength of a country, the power of a country, of a nation, is not measured by its economic strength or military strength. It is measured by its ability to preserve, protect, use its past as a source of inspiration for national development. This is my strong belief. I visited a couple of countries, and I saw how they use their past to develop their future. And this is very important for us. What you said here, I will attest to you. The Gambia have today the biggest resources of this historic past than all the surrounding countries. We are kept, but let me tell you where we are kept. We are kept in a room where virtually we have to manage an air condition. When Guinea-Bissau want the IMU, they have to come to Gambia. When Senegal want it, they have to come to Gambia. We have it there. We are transcribing. We've got a project to transcribe all these things. I think that's where the NCAC has to work with the University of the Gambia to partner with them, because this is one of the greatest assets of the country. All the statements, historic statements of politicians, leaders, past 100 years, all of them are kept there. But we need to develop them and see how we can protect them, put them somewhere they are secured. The reason why Bissau is coming, they had war. They lost it during the war. In Senegal, they lost it too, most of them. In Mali, they lost most of it. So Gambia is the main center for that today. But how many Gambians knows about that? Very few. How much are we investing there? Very little. Do we need to keep it? Yes. Do we need our children to know it? Yes, we do. But how much are we investing in making sure that our students can come and research, know who they are, what they are, where they're coming from, to give them guidance as to the way for the future. And that's why we believe that culture matters for us. Art matters for us as a government. We cannot push it behind. We have to work together to see how we can really enhance it. The net effect of all this in 2018 sector, where we are able to double the NCAC targets by 13% and then move tourism and culture forward. The Gambia Tourism Board's financial position has greatly improved as a self-financing public enterprise, completing government effort in nation building and sustainable development coming from very difficult times since 2015. When we came as a government, we realized the GT board was running through a lot of difficulties, interference of government, financial issues. We came as a government to say, look, you now want to build a hotel, the 5% that you are paying as a deposit will no longer be a deposit, will be your contribution towards that, and that becomes part of GT board's revenue. And this is paying dividend. Today, they are about to start building roads. What governments would have been doing, they are doing it. And we have not got any money from World Bank to help marketing this country. Ghana got 50 million, Senegal $70 million, Malawi 50, all these countries. We've got not even a dime so far. We're managing from our little resources to make sure we get that. And government came with this policy to say, look, we will give you the opportunity to levy 5% and use it as a development fund and also to market the country, which is today saving us and moving us forward. We thank the GT board, Director Haidara, your Director of Finance, your entire team, for a job well done. It's not easy to lead. A lot of criticism comes around. What is important at the end of the day, the achievement of the result that you can get. We thank all of you for a fantastic and well done job. It's not an easy job because you're dealing with human beings. You're not dealing with animals. They feel the way you feel, they think the way you think, they hear where you're hearing. You have a fantastic team. Keep up the good job with your team. We thank you for that. I am also happy to note that the ministry and the NCAC have embarked on several projects to see that government's cultural agenda is fully met. For example, efforts are well advanced to revive the Gambia National Troupe, which will showcase the diverse Gambian culture. Such a troupe will serve as a Gambian cultural diplomat, helping us to portray a positive image of our country. I'm happy to note that a task force has been set up to work out the modalities of forming a vibrant, sustainable Gambian national troupe in collaboration with the NCAC. This troupe will epitomize the best of Gambia's cultural performance from all parts of the country. I urge you to work faster on this matter, as hopefully in 2020 to launch the new Gambian national troupe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is sad that we are the only country in the sub-region without a national troupe. It is sad when I go, I feel embarrassed to say it. We don't have a national troupe. It was disbanded by the former government, and up to this day, for the last 20 years, there has not been a national troupe to showcase our diverse culture. In the First Republic, we had one of the best national troops, but there were no effort to sustain it financially. And that's why this government of Adama Barrow felt that we need to have a national troop, but a national troop that can sustain itself. Of course, government needs to support it initially. And in this regard, I must thank the former Director General, Mr. Baba Sesay, a doyen who have also done a fantastic job in the ministry and through the NCAC. He has invested all his time and efforts in really bringing the NCAC to where it is. We thank Baba, retired but not tired. He is retired but not tired. We are engaging him for another assignment within the ministry. And on the same vein, let me thank Mr. Hassan Sesay, a professional who I doubted his ability to run the institution at the beginning. But my interaction with him, a few months down the line, I came to find him to be a man who is trustworthy and able to do the job. Hassan, we thank you. And we thank you and your team. And of course, I would not end without thanking your chairman, the chairman of the board and members of the board, the professors. I think the governing council have also been doing a fantastic job. And I thank you so much for it. Hassan, keep up. It's not easy, but we need to move on. Yes, but the national troop is not a joke anymore. We really want to see it happen. And the inaugural committee have had their meeting. Nothing should obstruct you in making sure that we fulfill it by 2020. In 2018, the budget of the NCAC got a huge increase in its operating budget. This is another indication of how seriously government takes the issue of culture and artistic development. Furthermore, for the first time in its 30-year history, in 2018-2019, the Ministry of Finance has provided the NCAC a capital budget to revitalize all normal national museums and historic sites. So far, works have been completed at the Stone Circle Museum in Wasu, Fort Bulem, Bara, and the Kankuran Museum in Janjambure is also been fenced and upgraded in readiness for the Janjambure Kankuran Festival in mid-January next year. In recognition of this potential of festivals as unifying force in our country, in November 2018, financial support was provided to over 20 communities, totaling to over $500,000 for festivals organized, help them to organize their festivals in different parts of the country. Through this festival, aspects of our dying culture and tradition would be revived and restored, rebranded to provide employment opportunities for our youth and add culture tourism product. In partnership with the EU-funded Youth Empowerment Project, YEP, the NCAC has also assiduously worked with the community of Janjambure to empower the youth to harness the cultural and historic assets of the island for tourism purposes. Over 25 youths have been trained in tour guiding and imbued with better understanding of the historic and culture of the island of Janjambure. Let me say to YEP, Mr. Raymond, we thank you so much for your efforts you have invested in the NCAC and the GTHI. And I think we are very pleased with this project and the impact it is making with communities, particularly those at the Janjambure. We hope to enhance and support as government is coming in already. But as I said the last time in the National Anthem, and it created a lot of row all over, we are going to set up a committee as soon as possible of historian experts, intellectuals, to investigate the true nature of the slave house, so-called slave house in Janjambure, as to the authenticity of this historic fact. I think people have got facts that our children need to know. Our children cannot be misled. I was misled, some of us were misled, but the truth will be there for our experts. And I've asked the NCAC also to engage university experts and other individuals to be part of that committee, so at the end of the day, Gambians will come to know what really happened in Janjambure. Was it a slave house? Was it a store safekeeping? They've got the facts, but I don't want to be involved because I'm not an expert. But I think there are a lot of information that we need right there to be shared and to be made to the public. But I think we will engage the right people to get that job done. But the facts need to be told to the people of this country. I reassure stakeholders that this tourism and culture-friendly government will be at your sides as well as work together to make Gambia where tourism and culture remain an asset. Let me just come quickly on this. The reason why we felt this conference should be organized is to reassure investors and stakeholders we will not be a dictatorial government that will wake up one day and give you a tax that will destroy your business. We will not act in a manner that will wreck. We are all interested in making sure that this industry grows. And that's why we want to hear you. We want to hear you so that we can go back to the drawing board at the level of cabinet What do we need to change? What law do we need to enact? Where do we need to correct? What improvement do you need to do? But again, also, you owe it to this government to pay your taxes. Because if you don't pay your taxes, the security forces, the medical help, the other people who are experts, who want to be part of it, government will not be able to do its job. You need to pay your taxes, but we will make sure that you are protected. There has been a lot of noise about the 75% increase on alcohol. Sometimes government cannot tell you all what they do in public. But if I were to explain the story, you will accept. But be rest assured that in our next budget, everything would be addressed. Everything would be addressed. We are here to keep investors. There was this big talk of the $40 tax increase, whatever. We stood up to make sure that the industry is protected. And the president has this industry at heart, at every level. There is no day that will pass that he will not talk about the industry, because he has an interest to see that this industry succeeds. So don't feel that you have a government that will wake up and give you things that you cannot carry on board. We are with you, and we will support you, we will listen to you, and we'll work with you. And again, each and every one of us have a responsibility. On your side, say it, we want to hear it, but do what is expected of you too on our side. Let me say this. The Ministry of Trade and Agriculture, part of your deliberation, I want to take note of it. A lot of Gambians went into farming, poultry particularly. Their eggs are not being bought by hoteliers. Why? We want to know. Why are we importing eggs and not buying Gambian eggs that are fresh eggs? Are they too expensive? Why are they too expensive? What can we do as stakeholders also to bring those Gambian farmers on board in the industry? We want to hear from you. Why are we buying meat from outside? Why are we buying milk from outside? Why are we even importing peanuts, toothpicks, when we can have it in our country? We need to see how we create linkages between agricultural trade and the tourism sector. In 1983, there was this British government committee that came to the Gambia. When they finalized their study, what they realized was almost 90% of all income of tourism goes out of the Gambia. And we are not patronizing our own country. Why are we importing furniture when we can make it here in the Gambia? What's the problem there? I saw, of course, some hotels I visited are now using Gambian furniture. I congratulate those proprietors for initiating that, because you are supporting another employment sector. The millions of dollars you are using to import that furniture can be saved in our foreign reserve by using our local currency. What do we do to partner? Our government, the borough government, is interested for you to engage those people, to make sure that you use Gambian products and don't import them. But what are the challenges there? Yes, the EU allowing subsidized eggs to come and invade our market. What should we do? I think the Ministry of Trade, again, tourism here, and agriculture, we need to really collaborate so that we can protect our own local industry, our own investors who have invested in this, that they can sustain themselves, create jobs, move the economy, build a strong middle class. That will advance our country. And I think tourism have the ability to do that. Let me again just talk about the Ministry of Health before I conclude. The last time he engages me, he said, Honorable Minister, what is the relationship between your ministry and my ministry? Yes, he was right. In case there is a disaster, may God forbid, do you have the ability? Do you have the capacity? My answer was no. What are we doing to get something done? I said, Mr. Minister, we will have to try to work out a one-day workshop so that we can really get something done and we start moving and planning ourselves. And I think I can agree with him more than that. We need to also look at the health sector, vis-a-vis in relation to our tourism sector. Interior Minister, we very much appreciated your efforts. At every given moment we call you, even at midnight, you respond. Your men are always at our disposal. And that has seen the collaboration between your ministry, your personnel, and the tourism sector. But then we cannot be complacent. We have to act and move faster. We are very slow in moving. Somebody talked about cameras, scanners, but we also need intelligence in place close to be within our sector, to be gathering information, giving it back to the security sector so that we can protect the people who come here. Mr. Advisor, too, let me also thank the effort, the task force committee, local government, KMC, Birkama, on the bird strike, the efforts that were made to really address this matter. It cannot be a one-stop business, though. It has to be a continuous business. Before I land, I must also thank the Director General of Gambia Hospitality Institute, Mr. Dawda Nyang. You have done a lot of transformation in the sector. We thank you for the efforts. Keep up the spirit with your team. But before I land, I must say I have a very special thanks to a woman of tremendous substance who have suffered immensely under my leadership at difficult moment and difficult time. Sometimes very tense moment, because working with a man of a character of my level and getting things done has not been always easy, I can assure you that. It has always not been an easy situation. But as time goes on, people begin to learn, to understand. I'm not a bad man, I just want to get things done. Really, I don't want to harm anybody, but sometimes really national interest supersedes any other interest. And the Gambia, let me tell you this. When I go to Nigeria, I have dinner with my colleague ministers in office. Dinner, my minister's colleague, we eat in office. I am telling Nigerian ministers have dinner in their offices. The Gambia here. You go to Quadrangle. You go to Quadrangle by 3 o'clock, 3:30. If you count the vehicles that are left there, it must be tourism ministers' vehicles, or maybe local government. If not, nobody else is seen in the middle. It's like a ghost town. You come there at 8, you see nobody. It's dead. This country cannot continue like that. Sometimes, I'm saying this because there is a woman who is behind my success. Sometimes I'll call the husband to say, your wife is still with me. Can you be patient? He said, don't worry, Mr. Minister. And that is my permanent secretary called Jabak Samuel. There was a permanent secretary there was somebody posted to me and said he was afraid to work with me. And then I said, okay, you can go. Not a problem. It's not easy, but when you begin to learn people and you begin to understand each other. But let me tell you, before I finally open this conference, Mr. Colleague ministers, this country, we have to invest our efforts in making a change in the way we work in our offices as public servants. We cannot go the way we are going. And you come to work in the morning, they are on the computer looking for their meals. The next, they are looking for breakfast. By the time they start work, it's about midday. They put 1 or 2 things, they will go out to look for something. By the time they come back, they are packing up to leave the office. When are we going to deliver as a government? It cannot go that way. We have to change for this country to move. Nobody will do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And our commitment to national duty should never waver. We should be able to move our country ourselves. We have the opportunity, we have the atmosphere. Nobody is harassed, nobody is intimidated. And every effort has been made for the first time, nowhere in the world, that civil servants achieve 50% salary increase overnight. Only in the Gambia that Adama Barrow was able to do that. And we are not stopping there. We are moving to make sure our civil servants have the best and they become the best in the sub-region. Therefore, this civil servant also must reciprocate that gesture to make sure they give more and work extra for the country. If they do that, we'll make a difference. This is a place I want all of us to be frank to each other. I have a lot of things I've suspended. I'll be sitting right there to hear all your opinion. All of you will be given an opportunity to come and address the gathering here. We listen to you, what you want to say it the way you want to say it, be open, be free, nobody's intimidated, so that we can take it on board. When we go back, Adama Barrow will chair the meeting and will decide what to do with your recommendations. On that note, honorable colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I declare this conference of National Tourism and Culture officially open. Thank you so much.
And also thank you very much to Honorable Ahmad Ba, Minister for Tourism and Culture, on that detailed but very frank remarks. All right, thank you very much. And that also marks the opening ceremony for the first National Conference on Tourism and Culture. We will now recess for a short. Of course, after the break, we will get back to this hall in the next, of course, 30 minutes. Thank you.
na broda min ba Europe Mr. Conte nka bo wol kol kan sai na so ko na mano banta jabo banta tulo ban sai ka bol kol kan da ka ba office ko na ba dama bulo mutarin ba ka ta funtula no ko mbatu ngane ta ya priye ma ko do bandi na ta mano sani tulo ni jam mun da be tan la broda man balwo service kalam mun service balwo service ni da foronte mo kalam mun da a fela broda ko abitala internet ol aya ba site la woldo balwo.com na wo sajje a apu nga ba download la telephone ol na be sandiro to ni wal na be sidin ala office ko ndama manjar pour ay ta bank ko kodoki abe sidin office ko no daminto ito message so yo telephone ko no e biti ko be Gambia dawda biti ko babelo ko ta tano dawda yeta fenko tawo wodama yala bari wa service na ta molda han na tanyo le kan pija na bro dan ka ko tanyo lo ayo ko ti han
balwo service dinkirala jampo o manken na kolya ko balwo service al demano kaje ko ale do mor feŋol sang alla dimbaya moli ana lakkanun tewol wato bela ani wadu sudum fanan kono balwo service la dinkiralu ani la do kunyolu e be banko karo beto kabirin katon fo koyna nalla fa ko ku koton suro balwo service la kolto ali commandi telephone la no la milbuko 9400213 7694319 wala 3192870 wala hankabi alta internet oto alila kolu jibe www.baluwo.com.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.